Hey everybody, did you know you can go to colinmullen.com in order to get art and art prints? That's why I've made the website, and up until basically the start of next year, in January, you can get a discount on the originals. So hit me up via email, and we'll talk about it. colinmullen.com. So hey everybody, real quick, I want to talk about this painting before we get into today's subject matter. This painting's not very good. I wanted to try out some new stuff, some stuff that I felt like almost worked in the digital painting that I did for the last one, because I felt like it was okay. Like there was something going on there, but it wasn't quite good yet. And I was like, maybe it's just because it's not my normal subject matter. And I took the clouds because I liked how they came out. And I took the color palette and I just added a skull in. And I was like, will this look dreamy and atmospheric like I was hoping? So here even you can see me pulling open the digital painting that I did last time. Just trying to see if this would work. And I think the answer is no. I think it's just not my style. I really like the idea of using flats, where it's just like a flat color that doesn't blend into another one. I really like that idea conceptually, but it just does not work for me. I don't know. Maybe I need to experiment with it more, but I keep trying to do it. It keeps not doing the thing I want it to, so I digress. Anyway, that's enough rambling about that. I want to talk about today's subject matter. So I've noticed a thing with a lot of art YouTubers is that they seem to run out of things to talk about after a while. And I really don't want that to be a thing for me. So again, I'm going to say it. Please comment down below with things that you want me to talk about. It's not just for the SEO. It's literally just so I have ideas for subject matter to talk about. But I was looking around and I was like, okay, well, where are beginners asking for tips for art? And so I found a subreddit called Art Advice, and it's just, I don't know, it reminds me a lot of DeviantArt back in the day, where it's kids trying out new stuff, kids who are new to art, trying to do stuff. And that combined with the stuff that I have been critiquing over the last couple of years as part of my Patreon. If you donate $10 or more, I'll critique your art. I noticed some common errors in art that I feel like I should bring up in a video. And so I guess that's what this video is. So here are a handful of things that I think you could do right now to improve the overall quality of your work. First off, use art pencils. I feel like I've said this in another video. I feel like I've done this video before, but it bears repeating. Use regular art pencils. Don't use mechanical pencils like I did in this painting. And the reason is they bleed. You notice there's a couple times in this painting that it'll bleed over. But if you're just doing a pencil drawing, then you'll notice that you'll get smudges, and the smudges you just can't clean up because they keep appearing and appearing because your hand goes across something and then it smudges. Art pencils don't do that. Your line will stay where you want it to, more or less, which is a lot better. And it would have helped me with this painting. It would have saved me a lot of time. So taking my own advice in the future here. Second up, don't hide your hands. I notice a lot of people do this, especially when they first started doing art. They'll hide their character's hands behind their back or whatever, and it just doesn't work, man. I know what you're up to. I think everyone does, and you need to just draw hands, get used to the fact that they look bad, draw them and draw them more until they start looking good. They're hard to draw. They're weird alien things. I've done a video on how to draw them, I believe. Or at least how to draw everything. I'll link to that at the end of this video. Furthermore, don't draw on lined paper. I don't know why people do this. I think it's just because they don't have art paper to draw on, and they're drawing somewhere and they get a good drawing and then they send that in to me to critique, or they post it on the internet because they think it looks good and it's a good drawing. And it is, but it's immediately detracted by random lines running through it because it's like ruled writing paper. Don't do that if at all possible. Maybe use it as a sketch and then do it again on art paper, so that way it doesn't have the lines going through it, or at least printer paper. That was a big thing for me as a kid, just drawing on printer paper, because that's the paper I had available. It doesn't have to be great, but not having the lines will make your art look a lot better. Understanding the framing. This is a little bit more of a complex one and probably deserves its own video. So let me talk about it as far as this painting that we're looking at. I wanted to make the painting a little bit asymmetric, but I wanted the central focal point to be the skull, right? So I put a majority of the weight, that is the visual weight of the painting, up towards the top side, so that way you would lean up that way. but then I put a larger cloud down in the bottom right to kind of balance it. It's sort of like how buildings are made. There's a certain logic that people have with how things are built, and they need to be able to be held up by something. If you see like a tiny toothpick, diameter stick holding up like a building, you're going to be like, that looks weird and wrong. And art kind of has a similar thing where you need to be able to, it doesn't have to be symmetrical, but it needs to have, it feels like it balances internally with itself. So we have a tiny little cloud up in the top left, we have a slightly bigger one on the right, and then we have a really big one on the bottom right, and that kind of balances the painting, combined with the skull kind of being in the middle there. If that makes sense, hopefully. This probably needs to be its own video, but regardless. Next tip I want to give is don't put your characters in the void. Put something around them, even if it's just color. Like, in this painting, I've just put yellow in the background because I wanted it to be a flat painting. But, I've added clouds and stuff so that way it's not just a skull sitting there. In pretty much every painting I'll do, I won't just paint a skull. It usually is like a skull, but it's in a location. It's a skull, but it has these things going on around it. It's a consistent theme, the skull thing, I've noticed. Having them just in a white void, really, it looks like you aren't, and this is, I think, probably the case, people aren't confident enough to do the background because they're worried that they'll screw up the person they've already drawn. You gotta not worry about that, man. Just do it. Next one is take good pictures, get good lighting. One problem I notice a lot is that people will take pictures and their camera will be shaking and they'll send it to me and I'll be like, well, I can't really tell you what's going on with this, my dude. I can't really see what's going on, or it'll be too dark or what have you. Same sort of thing that I noticed with that Reddit is people will take pictures in low light conditions or while their hand's shaking. The good picture will make it a lot easier for me to tell what's going on and be able to critique it, and it'll allow other people to critique your art better too, and it'll just make it look better. You don't need a professional quality camera. You just need to be able to hold it steady for long enough that it looks good, if at all possible. Just the best quality picture you could possibly take. And then the last point I want to give, and this is just, I don't know why this is still a bugbear for people, but use references. Like, you'll notice in this painting, this video, if you go back and watch it, I'm pulling out a skull and looking at it. I'm pulling out the sketch that I made for this. The sketch I made for this had a reference. I use references because I don't have a perfect memory of what a skull looks like, despite having drawn hundreds of them at this point. You gotta use references. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It's not cheating, it's just how you do art. Anyway, hopefully this video has been helpful for you. If it has been, subscribe. And if it's been super duper helpful and you got the money to do it, consider throwing some money at me on patreon.com. If you throw $5 or more, you can get in the credits here, like the people that I'm about to list have. Starting with Wapfu. Thank you, Wapfu. Thank you, Top Houndor. Thank you, Tina Kill. Thank you, Targo. Thank you, Spiral. Thank you, Spencer King. Thank you, Plenixia Theoran. Thank you, Orthogonal Caster. Thank you, Mortibus. Thank you, Micah. Thank you, Maliciousness. Thank you, Lost Nevada. Thank you, Kayla Hollinger. Thank you, Katana Squirrel. Thank you, James at Games. Thank you, Gala. Thank you, Duxu. Thank you, Dragon. Thank you, Demetrius Gazgales. Thank you, Chiptune Glitch. Thank you, Cappy Rose. Thank you, Bubba Bear. Thank you, Bep. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Amber. And thank you, Ants! That's fun. Anyway, hopefully this video is helpful to you. Like I said, if it was, sub. And I'll put out more videos, and I'll talk about the things that y'all want me to down in the comments there. I'll see you guys in the next one.